Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chair. Friends and dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. We had a lot of expectations when RTE was, enacted. RTE being a fundamental right, justiciable right. In fact, we had a lot of expectations, and all of us know things have gone pretty badly wrong in the last almost 9 years. Very bad. And when we talk about the present government, also we should remember the previous government, even before NDA, has not really done much about implementing the Right to Education Act. In fact, forget about the radical change that what we are talking about, the common school system. Even the holistic implementation of RTE Act was completely, kind of derailed. I think this is very important thing that we need to, discuss about. And particularly if you look at the last 5 years, there is a quantum jump. In the sense, things have gone from bad to worse. Bad to worse. So this is really something very alarming, and what do we do is really the question that all of us have raised. Friends have already raised many things. I apologize for a couple of repetitions. I fully endorse resources is very, very critical. How can you implement a development right? It is not a protection right. It's a developmental right. So you need a lot of money for that. You need resources. So if you look at the way, resources has been allocated in the last 5 years, already Professor Praveen has raised those issues, is very, very, kind of disappointing. It's not only disappointing, it's more of abdication. What you do, a state is abdicating its constitutional responsibility, because whenever fundamental right, the obligation is squarely on the state. What do you talk fundamental right if state is not taking the obligation? State has to take the obligation. If state is not taking obligation, then I think probably there is no meaning for fundamental right. Having said fundamental right, you cannot open the education for the, open market. That itself is a kind of, not respecting the fundamental right. So therefore, if you look at their, even manifesto, I quote, the BJP said in 2014 before elections, they called education, quote, most powerful tool for the advancement of the nation and most potent weapon for fight poverty. Have you done in the last 5 years? Have you really, visualized education as a powerful tool for, transformation? Because our basic understanding of education is a social good. It's a tool for social transformation. And if you go beyond that, particularly sane and newsmum, it's a kind of, tool for your own capabilities. So what we have done? What we have done in the last 5 years? Professor Jha has already said, the average budget in the last 5 years has come down from 4.6 to 3.5. This is just average percentage of average budget spent by the central government in its budget. So that has come down. And many a times we always, equate this with GDP. GDP is much worse. It is, it has come down from, as you said, 0.64% to 0.45%. And what was Tapas Majumdar committee report in 1999 for the RTE? They said categorically at least increase 0.86% of the GDP. That was the recommendation. So we are spending less than 1%. We are spending less than 1%. And as Professor Poonam said, we have completely diluted the right to education into right to learning outcomes. Education is not just learning outcome, it is not 3 hours. Even if you go by our own father, Mahatma Gandhi, what Gandhi said, it is not 3 hours, it is 3H, it is to do with hands, heart and things. So I think you are completely, redefining the education. We are completely redefining the education. So therefore, what really they have done in the last 5 years, communalization is one of the biggest agenda. We have seen that, like many states have deviated from what NCF says, National Curriculum Framework. Commercialization is another biggest agenda. In fact, the corporate houses are dictating the terms. The policies of education, particularly from Karnataka experience, it is not done by the educationists or the academicians. It is the business houses, corporate houses. They have their own policy planning units in the department, and they are dictating the policy. So what does it mean? And also, if you look at, the kind of lies, Beti Bachao, Beti Betao was a very, kind of ambitious program. 644 crore has been allotted and 156 crore has been utilized for publicity. What are you doing? You are using the exchequer money for your own publicity. I think this is something seriously I think all of us need to think. And you promised a new education policy. What happened to the new education policy? Even today, new education policy is not on the public domain. You said that 1986 policy, 1992 policy was not very, kind of relevant. First of all, you have not implemented those policies, in its, kind of, very holistic perspective, but still you called it as inadequate. But what have you done to, kind of, to come out with a new education policy? So therefore, lot of issues. The question is, what is the way forward? What is the way forward? Friends, I strongly believe unless we make education a social movement in this country, unless we ask, kind of our share in a proper way, I think we are not going to achieve, that what we are asking for. Common school is an accepted recommendation by the Kothari Commission. And state is abdicating to that extent, as Poonam said. We are almost spending 61% of the education cess and equating with the main budget. We are almost shifting our responsibility. So therefore, I think already all of us know 3 major campaigns have come together in this country. Alliance for ECD, Campaign Against Child Labor, and Right to Education Forum. We had a meeting on 17th December, and the unanimous resolution was to make education a prime political agenda. All these years, political parties were setting agenda. Time has come now in India. People should set agenda for the political parties. That is the only way. Unless we make education a prime political agenda, unless we ask certain basic things from these political parties, I think probably we may not be able to bring the kind of changes that what we are talking about. What is that we can ask from this campaign? There are a lot of things that what should go to manifesto first. Because before we engage them after elections we don't know how these people will change colors. Praveen has already mentioned about, the kind of how they are using the entire political scenario in their favor, and they are very good at it. They are very well trained for that. They have been trained for a long, many years. So we all of us know, but what do we ask? At least this should go to their manifesto. Of course, one, without, kind of negotiation, 6% of the GDP. It is not we are asking, it was after, kind of enough research in 1966. Please give, what it was recommended in 1960, not in 2019. 6% of the GDP should be the core demand. Number 2, I strongly believe it is not just based on reading. My working with SMC is the vehicle for implementing the Right to Education Act at the school level. SMC need to be strengthened. No governments are bothering about strengthening SMCs. I think we need a political commitment from these parties that they take all possible measures to strengthen these institutions at the school level. So SMC should be one of the core demand. They should include in their manifesto as a commitment to provide both resources as well as kind of opportunities to strengthen SMCs. Number 3, in fact, to make education that of course include care, nutrition, early opportunities for young children, and of course, an equitable education as a non-negotiable demand up to 18 years. Because we are talking about sustainable development goals, and very interestingly, you brought Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan by replacing Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, teacher education and RMSA. Now we need a commitment in your manifesto that you are going to extend right to education. In fact, if you look at Unnikrishnan judgment, nowhere Unnikrishnan said that right to education is only just confined to the 14 years. It said further, the next part is subjected to the economic capability, capacity of the state. So therefore, it is important for us to ask this particular demand that please extend. And we have a rationale for this now. We have sustainable development goals. Whenever we go for national, international platform, we say very, proudly that, oh, we are part of sustainable development goals and all. So what is that you are doing in the state? I take 1 minute, sir. Then, of course, preschool is very, very important for all of us. What we have realized in Karnataka, wherever possible, the school development monitoring committees have mobilized money to start preschool, and naturally the school strength has increased, particularly in class 1. So unless you create that kind of an environment, it is not possible for us to strengthen public schools. And fourth, we have to ask a commitment from these political parties. They are not going to close down government school. It's a mass closure. Mass closure. So I think we need a commitment. So you need to take measures to strengthen public schools, not to close down. Don't hand it over to corporate sectors or NGOs. That is not the agenda. It is your responsibility. And of course, the last one, they have to give a commitment to curb privatization. What is this? See, like education being a social good, how can you promote private players in the sector? And you are almost, estimating as some $1 trillion, kind of a profit. Okay. See, this particular country has always said, Shiksha is, in Kannada we call it as Shikshana Mahadana. This is a great, kind of thing. And what are you doing? And you are talking the kind of culture which you are, kind of advocating, and you are encouraging all kinds of commercialization and privatization of education. I think probably we have to ask this as non-negotiable demand in the political parties. So therefore, friends, for the next 3 months, next 2 months at least, I think we have to spend sleepless nights. How do we take it to the people? It is not just, kind of a convention. Yes, convention is one good thing to launch, but this issue should go to the people. When people vote for the political parties, they should ask these prime questions. They should ask politicians, are you going to give this commitment? Unless you give this commitment, we are not promising anything. So therefore, I think this is the time that all of us take a very, kind of strong decision. Let us take it to the people next 2 months. Let us reach every, in fact, we have to reach all political parties irrespective whether they belong to right, left, center, whatever it is. And also we need to reach almost all Jilla Panchayat members and Taluk Panchayat members. Many a times, they are, very close to their own president and secretary of the party. So we must educate. We must tell them that you have to include this as a kind of prime agenda. I hope if you are able to do that, we can engage after elections. Post-elections, we don't know what will be the results. It's too early to say anything, but certainly it gives a tool for us to engage with them. So unless we engage, we may not be able to do much in education. So I think we have to make a resolutions. Let us, move forward in that direction. And thank you very much for this opportunity for organizers, particularly Ambarish. And I wish you all the very best, and we are always with you. Thank you very much.
5 concrete demands, 6% of GDP, strengthen SMC. Number 3, 0 to 18. Number 4, no closing of schools, strengthen the schools. Number 5, no privatization, curb privatization. So these are concrete demands. Thank you very much, Professor Aradhya. Now, Dr. Ramchandra Begor from UNICEF. UNICEF has been our partner in this campaign, so we welcome Dr. Begor.